record.
Okay.
We're recording.
Cheryl, do you want to say anything before we start or at the end about, or just keep going? Okay.
But we'll talk at the end about options.
Perfect.
מליקו, אני מתחילה יוגה קלאס.
בוקר אור. Good morning, everybody.
אוקיי, מתוק שלי, I love you.
Okay. All right, everybody. Good morning. Boker Or. Boker Or. We get to stand at Har Sinai together in our Torah yoga this morning. Yeah, so let's come to standing.
מעמד הר סיני.
Ma'amad Har Sinai, the standing, yes. Penina, in the Hebrew we call it Ma'amad, which has the root, thank you, Penina. La'amod. So let's la'amod, let's come to standing. And stand in mountain pose, just the shot of standing present in our body. Oops, wait a second, somebody's echoing. Okay. So let's see. Can you mute people, Cheryl?
I got it.
Okay, thanks. Great. All right. So we bring our feet onto the earth. We stretch our spines up. Roll the shoulders back and inhale. Take the arms up to the sides of the ears, stretch up, press your feet down. As you extend up, feel the sides of the trunk lengthening, keep the heels rooted, stretch all the limbs and begin to awaken into this yom, this day. Take the arms out and all the way down. And roll your shoulders. Shoulders up and back and down. Inhale, she'ifa, tarimu et yadayim, lift your arms, press your feet, lift your kneecaps up, roll the tops of the thighs in and move the fronts of the thighs towards the backs of the thighs. And then extend your arms wide. Pause for a moment at shoulder height and give a good widening of your arms to connect the chest and widen the chest. Then roll the arms completely to face up. Roll the shoulders back and extend the arms up. Take the palms together. Interlace thumb on thumb and see how above the head you can get your arms. Breathe into the mifgash, the encounter with your body. Take your arms out. Widen as you go, keep the length and take your hands behind you. Interlace one thumb over the other. And by interlacing, you have a nice hook so that you can connect to your shoulders, roll your shoulders back, move your shoulder blades forward, lift your chest up and breathe. And release. Od pam echad, starting with the hands on facing the floor, elbows parallel to the floor, extend the arms out, roll the arms, all the arm rolls, the inner arm. Inhale up, switch the cross of your thumbs. Press your feet, lift your kneecaps, roll your front thighs in, move your front thighs back and breathe. And then extend your arms out to the sides, move them behind you, switch the cross of the interlace of your thumbs. And lichaber, lihitchaber, connect to yourself, connect to the limbs of your body, and arrive into this morning's study of standing at Sinai. And release, and roll. Welcome everybody as you arrive. Let's just take one more moment to do one more long stretch. Extend your arms. Some of you are just arriving, so giving you a chance to arrive. Stretch your arms. Interlace your fingers all the way to the ends. Turn your palms to face away from you. Lengthen those arms and then keeping those 2 feet nicely balanced and rooted, extend forward and up. Spread your mind from the feet to the hands through the body. With awareness, with focus, with breath. Take the arms out. Now take that same interlace behind you. Interlace all the fingers. If it's too much for you to go that far, you can always just go parallel. Arms shoulder width apart instead of together. But if you can bring them together, Go ahead, roll the shoulders, lift the spine. And now, keeping the chest open, just take the arms to mountain pose. Lift the spine up. Stand with the presence into your body, awareness into your body. Sacheni, second side, arms forward, switch the cross of the interlace of the fingers, turn the palms, extend the arms up, extend the mind inward, breathe. And take the arms out, behind you, switch the cross of the interlace behind you, roll your shoulders back. Take a few breaths to continue to open the book of the body. And arms down, staying in mountain pose for another breath or two while the feet press, the arms stretch, but the spine lifts. Shoulders back, shoulder blades in. This is considered the most advanced pose. When we bring all of our yoga practice to this pose, that's where yoga is heading, leading us. How do we stand in our bodies? And let's come to sitting. Come to a cross-legged position or using your chair. And let's come to sitting for a moment. Okay, so take a minute to find a good sitting position, reach under the buttocks, pull the flesh away on both sides. Sit on those bones, cross your legs at the center of your shin bone if you can. And to show it better here, but not exactly working to show it better right now. Let me move back a little bit. So I'm crossing here. I'm crossing here rather than a big open cross. I'm crossing a little more narrow, pulling my buttocks out, moving the feet under my knees. Okay. Take your fingertips to the sides of you, on your floor, on your chair, or on your blanket if you're on a blanket, and lift up. Lift up your spine. Yofi. Make sure you're not overarching your lower back. As you lift your spine, I can't tell, Panina, it looks like there might be a tipping of the pelvis forward. Make sure don't just take the pose by going like this, the buttocks down, the lower back long rather than this. If you can see the difference. You guys can all see, right? I tend to do that as well. Women, if they're flexible here, tend to do that. So we want to take the buttocks down, lift the spine up, roll the shoulders back. So it's a little more harmonious in the lower back. Yofi. See if you can maintain that energy moving up the spine, and take your hands on your legs. Close your eyes for a moment and go bifnim, go inside. Using the body as a doorway to invite us to pnimiut, to invite us to inwardness. So use your body, relax your feet, relax your thighs, lift your spine, take your gaze inside, and follow a few of your breaths. As you inhale, turn your gaze inward. Knowing that we're searching for Torah also inside ourselves. And let's open our eyes. Okay, so we have these few moments to look at a lot, but in a very essential way. How can we dare to talk about this week's Parsha, which is standing at Har Sinai in just a few moments, but I'll give it a little try here. That's one of the tricks of Torah yoga, is trying to share an essential idea and then really bring it into practice. So an essential idea about Har Sinai, we've already seen in this Torah yoga series, there's this teaching that the world was created with Torah. God looked into Torah and created the world. That's from the first day of creation, but here we are 26 generations later into creation, and we receive Torah. So here's an idea that Svadamet says. He says, when the Holy One, blessed be He, said, Anochi Adonai Elohecha, I am the Lord your God, the first of the commandments, when he started to reveal Torah, right? Har Sinai is the revelation of Torah. It already was, but now it's being revealed. Lo hayaze amira bilvad. It wasn't just words. It wasn't words. There's something very deep. And Gila, I already, and many of you, but Gila has expressed a few times her love of the Hebrew and the secrets. And I know a lot of us share that. The Hebrew word for the first word of the 10 Commandments is Anochi. Anochi. Those are 4 letters. Aleph, Nun, Kaf, Yud. Anochi. It means I. I am the Lord your God. But the Gemara, the Talmud teaches, it's an acronym. It has deeper meaning. And it's an acronym for the words Ana, Nafshi, Katavet, Yehevet, which is Aramaic, which means I, my soul, have written and given. God is telling a secret in the first word of the 10 Commandments. I have written my soul into this book. This is not a book, an ordinary book. This is a book of an expression of a spiritual reality of God's soul. God doesn't have a soul, right? It's a metaphor. The aspect of the soul of God is in this book. And Sfat Emet says, it wasn't just words. It was a revelation. It was a testimony. It was a seeing. We experienced that reality. And in many of his teachings, he says that reality, he says it right here, that testimony, that witnessing, we saw the spiritual reality. It was nikba b'nafshot b'nei Israel le'olam. It was made permanent in the souls of the children of Israel forever. So it was a permanent engraving of the awareness of the Holy One, blessed be he, permanently engraved in us. He goes on to say, the whole purpose of the Torah is to attach all of our limbs and all of our sinews to their root through mitzvahs. We're supposed to attach to that deep, that we're going to call that a deep spiritual root, a deep spiritual witnessing. We're supposed to, our whole life is to remember that we had a connection, that we were engraved with a connection to a very powerful spiritual reality. And he says that's engraved inside of us, us. So this is partly, one of the ideas of Torah yoga is that if we can study ourselves deep enough and we can be enough deeply inward focused, it's there. We all have an engraved consciousness of this revelation of divine relationship to the world, which is what Sinai is. So I want to share, as this is our last class of this series, and I'd like to, make sure we understand that it's many things that we can connect to the body. So Rav Kook, who was the first chief rabbi of Israel, I hope some of you have heard of them. I know many of you have studied him with me. And if you haven't, I'd love to introduce you to one of the greatest minds possible, Abraham Isaac HaKohen Kook. And I'm going to read one line and we're going to connect it to Har Sinai and then into our bodies. He says, Hineni mechapes tamid masha betoch nishmati. Look, he says, behold, I am always searching what's inside my soul, what's inside my soul. V'ha'avdu tachitzona hi masi'at ha'de'a me'achipusa pnimi. And being enslaved to superficiality, I'm going to call it that way. I'm going to translate it that way. Being enslaved to superficiality, he's using the word enslaved, right? Because the first of the 10 Commandments says, I am the Lord your God who brought you out of slavery. What does it mean to be out of slavery? It means not to be enslaved to superficial realities of the world, to be turned to inner spiritual truth. That's freedom. He says, if we're too enslaved to...
You pause a sec?
Yeah.
Just want to take that in.
All right, Pam, I'm going to give you a second, but I think you're also going to have to take it in as we go along because I want to keep moving. I know it's a lot, but I'm going to keep moving. You breathe it in, okay? I'll give us a minute to take it in. I'll give me a minute too.
Can you please repeat the last thing? העבדות
העבדות החיצונה, I'll send it after as well, היא מסיעה את הדעה מהחיפוש הפנימי, which is, I'm going to call it being enslaved to the external things, being enslaved to superficiality, which is what Mitzrayim, Egypt, represents, a totally materialistic, superficial world. He masiat adaya. It really takes our consciousness away from an internal search. If we're too externally focused, it takes it away from an internal search. And then the last line, Levakesh lashav bikitzei haaretz et asher lo yimatzei b'ma'amakei nafshi. He says, I can search in vain to the ends of the earth, but I need to find it in my own soul. Et asher lo yimatzei b'ma. I'll look in vain everywhere if I don't find it in my own soul. I can't find things in an external way if I don't also find it inside myself. So this is really a deep direction of Sfat Emet and of Rav Kook. Rav Kook was, they overlapped a little with Sfat Emet when he was little. I don't think Rav Kook died in 1933. Sfat Emet died in 1904. So, but Rav Kook was a major, 1935, Rav Kook. He was a major student of Sfat Emet's teaching. So he's influenced by Sfat Emet. So what is the idea here? Throughout Rav Kook, we have to learn Torah from learning the words, and we have to learn Torah from panimiyut, from going inside. It can't be one or the other. It can't just be, let me search myself, because I don't really know what that self is. The Torah helps me learn what that deep inner self is, but the inner self also helps me understand Torah. They really have to go together. So this is Har Sinai. We understand that engraved in us are these words that we had an experience of knowing a higher reality, of knowing, it says we actually saw our souls. We saw our souls. And so much so that we left our bodies. That's why the Midrash says we died. It was so powerful. And then God brought us back to life. But the idea of Torah is not to be disembodied. The idea of Torah is to see it with our bodies, is to find it from within this world and not have to just go to a spiritual realm. So that's what we're doing when we're doing Torah yoga. And I want to invite us today.
Can you just repeat the acronym of Anochi?
The what? The what?
The acronym,
The acronym of Anochi. Anochi are 4 letters. Aleph, Nun, Kaf, Yud. Aleph, Ana. Nun, Nafshi. I, my soul. Kaf is katavat, katavet. It's in Aramaic, so I have to make sure I'm saying the nikud right, the letter, the vowels right. I think it's katavit, maybe. Have written, yehevet, and have given. I have given and written my soul. That's what the Torah is, right? The Torah is the soul of God in words, in written form. But when we read it, we're not just reading words, we're encountering God's soul. And by encountering God's soul, we're encountering our soul. We're encountering the spiritual, and that's inside. That is engraved inside of us. He says it's there forever. Nikba. Nikba means kavua. It's permanent. We may not know it. What is exile? Exile is not knowing it. Exile is forgetting it. So here we have the help of Torah yoga, which is both the study of who we are and the experiential practice of who we are. So we're going to come into standing poses to go through the physical and bring ourselves into the more internal place of spirituality. Okay, so Pam, I invite you to meditate on it as we go into our poses. I know Pam's great. She's always trying to get me to slow down, and I know it's important sometimes to do that. You know, my whole personal story is that I studied Torah. I began my Torah studies 5 years of yeshiva, and then I started doing yoga as a way to really digest that and really to understand that. Okay, let me just see a little comment. Oh, beautiful. So Pam has a lovely comment. Getting caught up in superficialities is galut, forgetting. Yes, 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 yes. It's a beautiful, beautiful way to say it. We're in exile if we're really living distant from our spiritual selves, is what exile is. That's what Svadamed is saying. That's what Rav Kook is saying. Okay. And that's Har Sinai in 5 minutes, right? So we know how much deeper it is and how much more needs to be studied. So let's come to our standing poses. Let me just set my camera right. Have a sip of water. Okay, and we're going to look a little bit for the inner parts of our bodies because we do live more on the outside than the inside. So we're going to do some awakening of the inner legs. So take your legs out wide, arms out to the sides, starting with triangle. Triangle opens up the stretch of the inner leg. Turn your left foot to the right. Turn your right leg to the right. Make sure your right heel is bisecting your left arch. Spread well the arms. Take at least 4 feet between your legs. Go wide. Press well from the inner back leg to the outer back leg and extend over your right leg. Right arm down, left arm up. Right buttocks has to be coiled inward, firmed inward, and stretch up the upper arm. Breathe. And now by pressing well into the back leg, stretch the bottom part of the torso, your right side of your torso, and turn the right side of the torso forward as the left side turns backward. And then gaze upward. Inhale up, hands on the hips. Remembering techniques we've learned for coming in, which open the inner leg even more. On this side, I'll say it more carefully. Lift your right foot, turn your right foot, don't turn your right leg. Lift your left leg, your left foot, keep your heel on the floor. Rotate the whole leg until the inner leg faces forward and take the foot down. And then scoot that right foot slightly backward. So that complete rotation of the front leg helps to open the inner groin, inner leg of the left. Stretch your arms out. Extend over that left leg as you press back into your right leg. Keep the leg straightening. Reach that upper arm up. Roll your shoulders back. Suck the left buttocks forward and lengthen the left rib cage over the left leg. And then turn the torso. And look up if you can, if it doesn't strain your neck. Look up and look in. And inhale up. Such a great idea here. Turn your feet, jump together. So it really fits with yoga because yoga isn't just about how we look externally, it's how we're really moving more internally. So let's look again at the importance of sucking in the buttocks. And we're gonna do an interesting technique to learn how to do this. Some of us have learned this before together. Some of you, this will be new. So look from the side. I'm gonna come into the pose. Watch for a minute. I'm gonna turn my back foot. Turn my right leg, scoot that back foot down. So my front foot is intersecting my back. Now what has to happen is that the buttocks has to come in and the inner leg has to stretch. But we tend to do this and come a little bit forward. We tend to do this. So there's not much stretch in the inner leg. So there's a technique that goes like this. We take ourselves over the front leg, watch for a minute. Then I look over my shoulder to my back heel. I'm looking to my left heel. The only way I can see my back heel is if I have sucked this buttocks in, because if my buttocks is here, right, and I look, all I see is the right side of my buttocks. If I suck it in, right, that opens up the inner groin, holds the buttocks in, and then I've got my alignment with a nice open inner right leg. So we'll try it, okay? Some of you are already trying it, that's fine. I'm going to guide us together. So those of you who want to come together with this, bring your feet together. Jump or step yourselves wide apart. Extend your arms, turn your right foot, turn your right foot to the left, lift your right foot and rotate the entire right leg. Scoot that left leg back. Now start in triangle. You go into triangle, over your right leg. Regular triangle, over your right leg. And now stabilize with your left leg. Gaze around your right shoulder and see if you can see your left heel. And to do that, you have to move that right buttocks forward. So you're opening the inner right thigh. Once you have that, then come back to classic where you're looking forward and then full pose, looking up, but with more awareness of that buttock sucking in. And come up. I'm going to watch on the second side. Turn your right foot to the left. Lift your left foot. Rotate the entire left leg to the left. Yeah, Yofi Barbara. Scoot that right foot back. Beautiful. Extend your arms out. Lift the kneecaps up and then go over your left leg. Extend over that left leg. Okay, now you're going to do that tricky movement here. The arm goes up, Arlene, rather than over the head. Arm to the ceiling in this. Yeah. Now look over your left shoulder. And as you look over, try to see your right heel. Suck that left buttocks in firmly. Lift. Yeah, suck it in and then keep it in as you, you might lose your balance. It's a different kind of pose. And then once you find that sucking in action, come back to center. Stretch that left torso a little bit more, as much as possible, and then look up. Rotate the torso and look up. Look up. Drop the chin a little bit, Panina. Drop the chin a little bit, and now turn the head. Yes, much better. Press the right foot. Inhale up. Turn your feet to center and jump or step your feet to mountain. And roll your shoulders back and down. Okay, we're going to do another pose with a educational way to get into it, to learn the sucking in action of the buttocks. We're going to do warrior. So first we'll do warrior 2 regular, and then we'll add an educational variation. So take your hands to your heart, jump or step your feet wide apart. I want to also remind people that anyone who needs a chair for things like warrior, where there's a deep knee bend, you can bend your leg over a chair. That's also a good variation. Turn your left foot. Don't turn your left leg. Lift your right foot and rotate that right leg until that inner leg is exposed. Then scoot that left foot back. So we're really rotating and then we bend. So we're stretching that inner leg until we get to a 90 degree. Keep stretching from the inner groin to the inner knee. And turn and look to your right as you extend your left arm to the left. And up to center, hands on your hips. Take a pause. Turn your right foot to the left. Lift your left foot. Rotate the leg as a unit and extend the metatarsals, the toes all the way down to the floor. Then scoot that right foot back. Arms out, bend down from the stretch of the inner groin to the inner knee until you get to that 90-degree angle between the thigh and the shin bone. Turn your head to the left. I'm coming to C. Breathe. Stretch your right arm. Lift the sides of your trunk. Relax your shoulders down. Okay. And come up out of the pose. Turn your feet. Jump or step your feet to mountain. Okay. So here's another way to get more of the action of sucking the buttocks in, because also in warrior 2, we can have the tendency to go like this, right? The buttocks can be back, the knee can be forward. We need the buttocks to coil in and the knee to be right over the heel, not in front of the heel. So one way to increase that opening is to take, I'll have to show you well my feet what I'm doing. These are sort of educational preparations for the pose. We take the front foot at the front of the mat, the back foot at the back of the mat, right? Instead of heel to middle of the arch, we're opening up more so that we're giving sort of a preference for this leg, this buttocks to come in. And then we go down. Okay, so try it. It's also a different balance. You might feel less balance, but it's going to open up some new ways to work the pose. So step your right foot to the front edge of your mat, the inner foot parallel to the edge of the mat. Step your left leg back a good 4 feet, but at the back edge of the mat. So you're really kind of making a scissors of your legs, left leg, right leg forward, right leg back. Arms out to the sides, along the lines of the legs. Now that that right leg is forward, you're opening up that inner leg and then bend down. Bend down so the buttocks is in. Stretch your arms. Have the knee over the heel rather than in front of it. And the buttocks in, inner groin stretching to the inner knee. And come up. Turn your feet, come back to center. Second side, step your left leg to the front edge of your mat. Right leg to the back edge of your mat. Suck that left femur bone coil it into its hip socket, arms out. And then from the inner groin to the inner knee, go down deep, warrior, with a nice opening of the inner leg to the inner knee. Stretch and breathe. Back leg straight, back leg straight. Yep, back leg straight. Yofi. Arms out, spine long. Come back up. Jump or step your feet to mountain. And roll your shoulders back and down. Let's take that. 1 second, sweater off. Let's take that awareness to extended side angle stretch where we need that deep bend. We'll do it from the classic position of the legs. So bring your feet to mountain. Take your hands to your heart, jump or step your feet forward to 4.5 feet wide, wider than triangle. Turn your left foot, lift your right foot, rotate it and scoot that left leg back. And remember the roshem, the impression of the sucking in of the buttocks, the inner leg opening, stretch down, inner leg long. And now extend over, bring that right hand down, bring that left hand up. And increase the stretch of the inner leg by pressing the knee back into the arm. If you're using, you can have a hand on a chair if you want here. You can even sit on a chair with a bent leg. Then rotate the upper arm, extend it over, and give a good stretch. Breathe, feel the stretch of the inner leg of the right. And inhale up. I'll watch on the second side. Turn your right foot to the left. Lift your left foot, turn it all the way. Go wide, go wide. Go a little wider than maybe you have. I think most of you can go a teeny bit wider. Yes, turn that right foot, Gila. Make sure it's turned. I can't see your foot, but make sure the right foot's turned to the left. Arms up. Then sucking that left buttocks in, coiling the femur bone in. Go down deep. Yeah, until the inner groin stretches to the inner knee. And then stretch that, bring that hand down, stretch the back leg for support, for rooting, and extend that upper arm over the upper ear. Good. Then there's a turn of the left torso forward, of the rotation, and I look under the armpit, up. Susan, you can drop your chin a little bit towards your heart instead of throwing the head back. Yeah, good. Beautiful. One good breath to stretch open and inhale up. Turn your feet to face forward, jump or step your feet to mountain, and take a moment to absorb. So if the doorway, if the body, that Svadamet says, that we're supposed to link all of the limbs of the body to a deeper root, to this impression of something higher. So we're going through poses as a way to really have a doorway inward. So stand in mountain for a moment. Stand at this day's Har Sinai for a moment. And just take in the openings of the poses, whatever your body is receiving. Okay, we're gonna go to half moon pose, which is a further opening of the inner leg. Watch half moon for a moment, then we're gonna do it. Some of you know it. So I don't know if we've done it in this class. I don't have a record of all that we've done. So watch, this is the pose. I think we have done it. And we're gonna do it also with support. So here, this opening of this front leg is very important. We've gotten a good stretch of that inner leg. That's the pose. So there's ways to do it that are a little bit more supported, which is, if you like, instead of taking that hand to the chair, to the floor, you can lean on a chair. I'll talk you through the stages of the pose and play around with what it means to go like this, right? It's a lot more intense to go to the floor. Some are ready for it, some are not quite there yet. So take a chair if you like. But how do we go into the pose? Let's do it together. And let me show you one time. It's very important. Okay, because what we do is we do triangle, then we bend that front leg. I put my fingers on the floor about a foot in front of my foot, and then I scoot the back toe close to me. If I don't pull that back foot in, I'm never going to be able to lift it up. Okay, so I pull it in, and then I start to lift. And then I learn to stretch the standing leg into a one-leg mountain pose. And I rotate my torso forward. Then we go back to triangle. Okay, so we'll do it together. Feet together. Hands to the heart. Jumper step. Triangle distance. Turn your left foot. Lift your right foot. Rotate the right leg. Scoot the left leg back. Go into triangle with that nice sucked in right buttocks, open inner, stretchy inner leg. Then to go farther, you bend that right leg, you take the hand on the floor, a foot in front of the baby toe, scoot that left foot in, be on your big toe, and then begin to lift up that upper leg, and then to straighten the standing leg. And stretch that upper arm up. Use whatever props you need. Blocks are okay, they're just a little unstable. So chairs are also really helpful. And then come down, come back into your triangle, and come out of the pose. Okay, I'm gonna come see what's happening here. Turn your right foot to your left. Turn your left leg to your left. Hillary, maybe a little more space between the legs. It's looking a little narrow between the two legs. If you can go a little wider, it's helpful. Extend into your triangle on your left side. We're going over the left. Left hand to the triangle, start there, left leg. Now bend the left leg. And take the left hand a foot in front of your left foot and scoot the right big toe a foot away from you. Scoot that right leg closer and then start to lift it. There you go. Yeah, just play around with it. Even if you just play around with a new sensation, great. Lift up. Yofi. Nice. Suck that left buttocks in. Lift that upper arm up. Okay, everybody. Come back. Come to mountain. Roll your shoulders back. Take a chair. We're going to come back into that again, but let's take a moment to calm the mind in a forward bend. So take your feet as wide as your yoga mat from the inner edges of your yoga mat. Stand with your feet about 2 feet wide. Lift your arms up and extend yourself to a half forward bend. With the head facing the floor, lift your kneecaps, find your center, and take a few exhalations to relax a little bit. And come up. So of course it's taught that the Torah was given on Shabbos. So this idea of panemiut, of inwardness, it really comes from when we get a little quieter, a little more calm, right? These standing poses, they excite a lot of energy, but they open doorways. And then we get to go inside. So let's do it a second time. Everyone, I liked watching, everyone's doing it. I know for some of you, this is really new. For some of you, it's really just about playing around with what does that mean to start to, you know, shift my balance in that way. So that's great. Whatever level you're working, that's your opening for this practice today. Let's bring our feet together. Hands to your heart. Jump or step your feet wide. One more time, half moon pose. Turn your left foot. Lift your right and rotate and give a good turn to that front leg. And then go into your triangle. Bend that right leg. Scoot yourself into position with your right hand on the floor for support. Left toe close to you. Even this is good to practice, this preparation and just learning how to lift that leg even a couple inches. But those of you who are ready to lift it, go ahead and lift it to parallel to the floor. Then do mountain with your standing leg with that inner leg facing forward. The right thigh is facing to the right. The inner thigh is facing forward. And you press. Look forward rather than down. Look towards the computer or whatever you're facing. And go back to triangle. Bring yourself back to triangle pose. Then come up, second side. Turn your right foot. Turn your entire left leg. A little wider. If you're only 2 feet apart, go 3 feet. If you're 3 feet, go 4 feet. And turn the right foot, turn the left leg, go into your pose over your left leg. Bring the left hand down, bring the right arm up. Great. And then bend that left leg. Put your left hand on the floor, fingertips, or on a block or on a chair. Make sure the chair is stable, and then scoot that right toes close to you. And then go ahead and play with it. Play with, how can you, lift that leg. Lift it up, but straighten the standing leg. Oh, nice. I see people are going much farther this time. Beautiful. Don't look down, look forward. Looking down is gonna make it harder. Okay. Lift that upper hip up one more moment. Lift that right hip up to the ceiling. Rotate it up to the ceiling. And come out of the pose. Okay, and find your center. Come to mountain. Stand for a moment in mountain pose. Forward, half forward bend. Let's start again. This time, take your feet outside your yoga mat.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes, go ahead.
So I'm curious about why we come out of that pose into triangle. And the reason I ask is because it's so much easier to just tip back into a standing position rather than stay kind of tilted down in triangle and then get up.
My understanding is that it opens up triangle so much because it's sort of like a further extension of triangle by that deep opening of the inner leg, that going back into triangle is like a more advanced triangle afterwards. It's like a preparation for triangle.
Thank you. Okay.
Yep. Great question, Pam. All right. So, that's why we go in from triangle and out from triangle, because it's related to triangle pose. Take your feet on the outer edges of your yoga mat. Extend yourself to your couch or your chair or something that can give you support so you can give a good stretch forward. And then lift your kneecaps, press your front thighs back and look forward. Those of you who are ready, which means if you have the openness in your body for forward bends with your hands on the floor, meaning if your legs can stay extended, bring your arms straight under your shoulders like table arms. Stretch your chin forward. Those of you whose knees are bent, once you go here, I invite you to take more height. Right? You can take blocks, you can take a chair, something to keep your legs. The more the legs can lengthen up, the more the spine can lengthen away from the legs. Once you're in this part of the pose, if you can, take your arms out to the sides, elbows out, fingertips down, and go into a fuller forward bend. Top of the head towards the floor, kneecaps lifting, and take those exhalations to go from the external to the internal. In other words, for the parts of the body that are holding, can you let go? Can you release? Tin Shafu, Tarpu. Now, wherever you're at, drop your head for a moment. So I'm going to give instructions. If anyone feels like they don't want my instructions, you'll tell me after. So Hillary, straighter legs. What I suggest is hands on the chair again for a moment. Hands on the back of the chair, stretch forward. Yes. That's much better for the back. What the legs can straighten, the back can lengthen. That's what we're looking for. Nice, drop your head. If you can, hold the backs of your ankles. Those of you who are ready, hold the backs of your ankles with your hands and pull from the outside, Cheryl, from the outside. Grab them from the outside and pull your body down and towards your legs. Okay, inhale, stretch your spine forward and up out of the pose, up to standing. Great. We're gonna do forward bend to the side, Parshvottanasana, where we take our right leg forward, our left leg back. We're gonna move now towards more forward bending to go more inward. So take your right leg to face the chair, your left foot slightly turned to the left, and both of your hips facing forward. Extend up, interlace thumb on thumb. Lift the front of the spine, take the tailbone in, and extend over your chair. Stretch your arms, place your chair so that it serves you to stretch your arms. Stretch your spine, turn your left hip forward. We've done this pose probably almost every week. Lift that right kneecap up. Those of you whose bodies are ready, if your legs are staying long and activating upward, take your hands to the floor on your fingertips. Stretch your spine forward. And then bend your elbows and go farther toward the front legs. Try to take yourself over your front leg. Okay, stretch forward and up. So one difference in this pose, I'm noticing, Cheryl, maybe something wasn't clear. We don't take the legs one on one side and one on the other for this pose unless you're doing that for therapeutic reasons. We're taking, let's do second side, left leg forward, right leg back. They're really in line with each other, the two feet. My left heel, it would bisect my back arch, unless there's a reason you're doing it for your particular body. So if not, it's more of a balance where the legs are almost on a line, except the back foot is turned a little to the right. Interlace thumbs, stretch up, tailbone in, press well back. The front of the front thigh moves into the back of the back thigh. The back of the body is an aspect of panemiut. It's an aspect of inwardness. It's an intuitive aspect of the body. Front thigh moves to the back. We not even aware of that often. And then from there, extend forward. So keep pressing the front right thigh backwards until you take nice firmness of the heel onto the floor. Then take your hands, those of you who are ready. If not, you stay here and breathe into it. Breathe into it until the body opens doorways to let you in. That's the simple understanding of what we're doing. Take the hands down. Stretch the spine forward. Bend your elbows and breath by breath, patience, wait and go. So it's a deep attentiveness to your body. Your body, whatever that body is doing, that's what you're going to connect. Turn that right hip forward a little bit more, Cheryl. Left hip up and back. There you go. Kamashev Shargila, left leg straightening, left leg straighter. Yeah, take the hands to the chair for a minute, Gila, back of the chair. And yes, 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 yes. Okay, those of you who are ready to take the head towards the shin bone, go ahead. Hands on the floor, left leg straighter, Carol. Lift, yes, oh, yep, it tends to bend that front leg. And inhale up out of the pose. Great. Let's finish up our standing poses with wide angle forward bend. Everyone at your level. Let's all start with a chair though, to get the feeling of the head resting on a chair. Watch. We're going to take our legs 4.5 feet wide, wider than we've been, 4 3/4. Wherever you've been, go wider. Then we're going to extend and we're going to rest our forehead on something. So if you need it to be higher, like this, cross your arms, rest your forehead. We're going to move into some forward bends that are restorative so that we can quiet and go to that more secret Anochi place, that place where there is a spiritual impression inside. Legs wide, go to your pose. Come watch. Spending half a minute in this pose, no matter what your flexibility, lifting your kneecaps, stretching your legs more, front thighs back, big toes facing in. If your forehead is resting, let your forehead exhale. Let the mind relax for a breath or two. And then those whose legs are nice and long and stretchy, you can put your hands on the floor between your feet and go until the top of the head goes towards the floor with exhalations. Take a peek at your knees, see if you're satisfied with their activity. They want to be sucking up, really sucking up. The backs of the legs have to be straight. Tin Shafu, exhale, and then extend forward with your spine and come up. All right, so I hope all of you have chairs. We're going to use chairs here for a few sitting forward bends. So you can take a chair in front of you and a blanket to sit on. I don't really want to block, but I want to show you what we're doing. Maybe I'll sit to the side, it might be better. Instead of having the chair in front of my face, we'll sit to the side. We're going to take our legs wide apart. Upavishta Konasana, wide angle sitting pose, which means 60, 70 degrees wide. Of course, if your body isn't ready, you take it to your edge and you breathe there. So you can sit up on an edge of a blanket, and I'll start on that, and then some of us will come off of it. Take your legs out, reach under and pull and spread out the back of the thigh. Onto your blanket, spread out the back of the upper thigh. Fingertips down, spine lifting up. Stretch now those inner groins that we've looked at through triangle and all of our standing poses. Inner groins to the inner ankle bones. Lift your spine up. Roll your shoulders back. Let's get some length before we go forward. Interlace thumb on thumb. Extend up. Lift up. Keep the buttocks down, those of you who are over flexible in the lower back, and lift up. Keep the front thighs down. Keeping this height, extend your arms out to the sides, and then take yourself forward over your chair and try to find a support so that you can rest your forehead down. Again, if you need to lean like this, watch, like this, so it's not a big forward bend, but you're still resting the forehead on the backs of your arms. That's also a possibility. So find a good position for yourself with the legs wide. And then come up out of the pose. Come up out of the pose, take your hands in the inner knees, bring the soles of the feet together, hold your feet, and keep stretching those inner groins to the inner knees in cobbler pose. Cross your legs, take your right leg over your left. Those of you who can't sit on the floor, it's hard to sit on the floor, either try with extra blankets or come up on a chair. We're going to do some forward bends into different directions, forward and then twisted forward bends. So those of you who twisting isn't good for you, you can stick with the forward bend forward. So right leg crossed over the left. I'm going to come face so you can see what you guys are doing. Interlace your fingers. We're going to start by lengthening. Turn your palms away. This can be done on a chair and raise up. Everything begins, the doorway inward begins with a nice lengthening to create space. It's like cleaning your house so you can go in it. Lift up, relax your legs. And then keeping that length, take your arms out to the sides. We're gonna now take your chair and do your forward bend over the chair so that you're also going to be resting your forehead on something, whatever height you need. You can put blankets on the seat of the chair, you can put a bolster, or you can use a higher support like this. I recommend finding a way to resting your forehead. Come up. Now, instead of turning your chair all the time, which is very, it's not such a great thing to do because we're sitting in a position, we don't have such a great angle for turning the chair. Just turn your body so that your chair is a little bit off to your, I like the seat here, your chair is off over your right leg, and you're going to turn and go over that right leg. Those of you who twisting isn't good for you or you want to do a milder twist, make the angle a little bit less. Okay, if no twisting is right for you, then just go straight ahead again on this side. So first you lengthen, then you turn, then you extend over your right leg. Forehead resting. The abdomen is turning here from left to right. Let the exhalation be a going inside. Come up. Instead of turning your chair, figure out a way to turn yourself. Lift up, rotate yourselves from right to left, and with a nice long turning spine, go over to the other side. So the back is lengthening and turning and letting go. And then come back up. Sit back facing forward. Stretch your legs out in front of you. Press your fingertips down, lift your spine up. We're going to do the second cross of the legs in a moment. Extend your hands forward, interlace thumb on thumb, and lift up. Lift up to release anything in the back. Try to get a nice freedom in the back. And extend the arms. So Svadamet calls, when we're too involved in the external, he calls it a certain slavery. Freeing ourselves from just the external parts of our body and trying to go a little bit deeper in, freeing ourselves up. So we go along, cross your legs the other way, whichever leg was in front. Take your hands forward, cross your fingers the other way, turn your palms, extend up, and take your arms out. So since we have a big variety in our class, I want to offer also, watch for a minute. Some of you are ready to sit on the floor and go forward without a chair and bring your head perhaps to a block or a bolster this way. So I don't want to limit you. For those of you who are ready to go into a further forward bend, you know, like I said, either a bolster block or all the way to the floor, but for that you want to sit on the floor. Those of you who are good with working the pose with your support, let's do it again. Whichever level you're working. So you stretched up and now we're extending forward over the chair, right in the middle, first time in the middle. Move your chair to such a distance that it gives your back a chance to lengthen. It doesn't stop you. Yeah, so if you can go to the floor, it's a nice pose. Tin Shifu, completely relax those legs. Relax your hips in all the variations of the pose. Relax your hips. And here's a subtlety. Take the forehead, rather than the skin of the forehead going from the bridge of the nose up to the hairline, take the forehead from the hairline down to the bridge of the nose. It quiets the mind. So in other words, rather than having the forehead be lifting, when you rest your forehead, kind of iron it from the top down. Iron it from the hairline down to the nose and then rest it. And then come up and adjust yourself so that you can use your chair, or if you're not using a chair, turn over your right leg, and with a long spine and a turning spine, go over that right leg. And then you can put a block there as well if you want. So you're stretching and turning and bending. And then come up. And last side, first lengthening, then turning, then softening and lengthening over the left side. Keeping the right buttocks down. You might notice it happens, the right buttocks gets light. How much can you keep the right buttocks down? So the stretch is all along the side of the right side of the body, and then relax that right side, turn it to the left. Let go in all the abdominal organs, let them be soft and receptive, go inward. And slowly come up to center. Last time in the middle, just to straighten out into the center line, go forward one last time. Rest the forehead somewhere, relax completely your feet, your knees, your hips, your spine, let's go. Slowly come up, finding our ways to lying on our backs. Have your blanket nearby. We're not quite with the blanket yet, but we will be in a moment. So coming to lying down on your backs with your knees bent. Now we're preparing for the ultimate Panimiyot pose, which is Shabbos. Shabbos is the day of Panimiyot. It's the day the Torah was given. It's a day where we can access a little more spiritual connection. So lie down, stretch one leg at a time, making sure you've taken the buttocks away from you. Stretch your legs, reach your arms overhead and give a good lengthening to all the parts. Roll your front thighs in toward each other, press the top thighs to the back thighs, press the inner groins to the floor, lengthen the whole torso. Then hug your right knee up, hands over the shin bone, letting the back soften to the floor. Release your right leg, Bend your left leg, hug it in. Elbow slightly lifted. Release your left leg. Bring your two legs up and hands over the tops of your shin bones. Rest your hands on the shin bones, feet touching, back resting on the floor. Interlace thumb on thumb. Or I didn't tell you to take a belt, but if you need a belt for this, take a belt under your feet. We're going to finish up with our legs extending upward, either by holding our arms over our head or holding a belt under your feet. Give a good stretch to those legs to the ceiling. Let the back settle to the floor. And then hug your knees one last time with the second interlace of your fingers over the tops of the shin bones. Place your feet on the floor and take a moment to prepare for your Shavasana, your Shabbos pose, where we're going to rest all the limbs right down into their more inner space. So you bend your legs, lift up the buttocks, move it away, stretch everything well. You want to, it's like you're ironing or spreading the sheets on the bed so that they're really wide and open so you can relax onto them. So you're spreading your own body so that you can relax into your own body. Take the blanket under your head and neck, chin slightly turned towards the heart. Forehead is also, if there was a drop of water on your hairline, it would flow towards your heart rather than up towards the brain. So let that be the slight tilt of the head. Inner arms facing up. Take your moments of adjustment to find comfort. Take your legs on support if you need, or your knees on a rolled blanket if it's better for your back. And then with your exhalations, let go all the external aspects of ourselves. Let's go of all the levels of the physical body. Release and relax the efforts. Feel wherever your body is contacting the floor, and that's where you get to exhale and let it be passive. So we've done whatever work needs to be done in the postures, and now we receive the root of the postures, the energy of the postures. Take another moment to allow the front of the body to descend to the back of the body. Layer by layer, releasing. And then gradually preparing to transition. Bend your legs, rest your feet on the floor, relax for a moment with your legs bent. And then roll to your side, be there. Take a few breaths there. And using your hands, coming up to sitting. Come up to a good sitting position, either on a blanket, up on your chair. So this practice, sitting straight for a moment with your hands pulling the buttocks away, your legs crossed, fingertips helping you reestablish a straight spine in a sitting position, shoulders rolled back and down. Lift up your spine, relax your hands on your thighs, close your eyes for another moment. So this practice is the practice of shalom, the practice of connecting this world to a higher world, which is the Sfat Emet's teaching of what shalom means. So we'll chant together the sound of shalom, if you like. Shalom, 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 shalom. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Okay, so shalom, everybody. You know, we always learned in Hebrew school that shalom means hello, goodbye, and peace. It doesn't mean any of that. It means wholeness. But that's what we say when we see people. We say shalom, meaning I wish you wholeness. That's what we're really saying. So it's not really hello, goodbye. It's just shalom, wholeness. So thank you all for joining. And we have this time to hear questions or insights or blessings or anything you want. So if anyone wants to share something, please open your mic. Let me get my glasses.
Diane, I would like if you can share with us the text.
Yeah.
Of Sfat Emet and Rav Kook. That's exactly, tomorrow I'm teaching Ma'amad Har Sinai.
Wow. Wow.
Tomorrow it's the
Okay, Vanina.
Perek Yutet, it's tomorrow. So
Wonderful.
yeah,
So I'm doing it for you today. I'm going to send it out today. I'll send out the whole Sfat Emet. It's a long teaching. You'll love it. And, and the Rav Kook. Yeah, I'll send those out.
תודה רבה.
So you can pass the waters onward to your lovely, beautiful students.
Amen.
Toda, Panina.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. I was thinking of, you know, how what you were saying, you have to get rid of the superficialities. So the superficialities, aren't they like being in Mitzrayim, that
Yes.
we're slaves in Mitzrayim?
Yes.
And the neshama can only be free if we get rid of those superficialities.
Yeah, I think that what is Sfat Emet is getting to and what Rav Kook is getting to when he says avodah chitzona, the external, being enslaved to external. So I translated it as superficiality, and yeah, I think we'd have to go deeper into what do we really mean by that. But yes, that's what they're saying. Yeah. Yeah, like even in yoga, we could say, you know, is it about just how we look on the outside, or is it about how we're using the poses to develop focus and deep connection? And yeah, not
Right.
just to look a certain way, right? But to be a certain way. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I think that's exactly what Rav Kook is speaking about.
What is the Hebrew chetzuna?
Chitzona, well, it's from bachutz. Bachutz means outside.
Outside. Oh,
Right? Bachutz means outside.
nice.
Right? Chutz la'aretz, Susan, you know, chutz la'aretz, outside of Israel.
Or could it
So
be,
chitzona is like things that are outside and not deeply inside.
but it's external also, doesn't it mean
Yes.
external as opposed to internal? Chitzoni.
Chitzoniyut. Chitzoniyut.
Pnimiyut is inside.
Yeah, we would use the word chitzoniyut, like it's an external focus, not pnimiyut, internal focus.
Diane,
Yes.
I'd like to thank you for these wonderful 4 weeks. I only would like them to continue.
Arlene, I'm pleased.
my first experience with you, and it was very meaningful. It's very, very meaningful.
Thank you so much, Arlene, for sharing. I'm delighted to introduce it to you. And my desire for the last 30 years has been to teach Torah yoga. So I will keep teaching as long as I have students who want to learn.
I hope we can have another 4-week session very soon.
Yeah, we're hoping Cheryl can speak to that. But I mean, I'm available. Thank God I'm available to do this. Spread the word to other students, because I do think, I have been teaching this for 30 years, and I think there are a lot of people who really would love this kind of connection, right? I really believe that. And my mom, I was learning a little with my mom yesterday, and it's some Torah, and she said, why don't they ever teach that? And I said, I feel that about everything that I'm learning. Why don't we teach this? People want to know this. So if you do know people, I really encourage you to share it with friends and invite them, so we can maybe keep the class going. I'm hoping we can. Cheryl, do you want to tell us anything about?
So on that note, I'm going to send out an email. Hopefully we'll resume after a 2-week break for another 4-week session.
That'd be great.
Oh,
And
fantastic.
I said to Cheryl, it will be lovely, because that will be like 2 weeks before Purim, and then it will also be 2 weeks before Pesach. So we'll be able to really prepare for Purim and Pesach with Torah yoga.
And
mean,
I want to say that I'm so thankful for your teachings, which align me in so many ways, physically, spiritually, emotionally, for the week. I really appreciate
Cheryl,
it.
amen, amen, amen. You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
Pam has her hand raised.
Pam, 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 do you have a hand raised?
Yes, thank you. I have a couple of thoughts. One is the superficialities was such a good reminder to me, because this morning I got upset by some people talking about COVID restrictions, and I won't even say what they were, if they were for or against, but it just was very upsetting to me. And I realized when you first said this about don't waste your time with that, that's like being in galut. Like that's exactly the kind of thing I was thinking was the teaching was trying to tell me, don't waste your energy there. You can't change, just do what you, and then the other that you were saying that I really caught was continually be checking with what's true in my own soul. I think that's something you said from Rav Kook. And I think that like if something like the discussion got me upset, but I'm continually checking what's true in my own soul, then I can know what, if anything, is mine to do in that situation, and leave. And if there's nothing that I'm called to do in that situation, I can leave it.
Oh, beautiful, Pam. Beautiful, Pam. And I think it's really sweet that you're not that I don't want to see your face, but you're just talking to us from the Pnimiut. We don't even see you. So you're giving us the Pnimiut. Thank you. Beautiful reflections, and how this is really about techniques for really the moments of our lives. It's not theoretical. Thank you for making it so real. I can relate to what you chose to share. So thank you.
I just want to reiterate everybody's gratitude for this month. It's been amazing. And to culminate Torah yoga on the parsha that we received the Torah, and you've, just given us over such beautiful, insightful inner Torah. Just thank you so much. You really, it's been just such a treat.
You're welcome, Shoshana.
To reconnect with you. I miss you. So.
Wonderful to reconnect. Thank you, Shoshana. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Okay, everybody. Okay, so God willing, yeah, Carol.
It was a great lesson. I really appreciated it. Thank you. And it would be great if more people spent more time looking inwardly than externally. Yes. Kind of echoing what other people have saying. So yeah.
Amen. Amen.
Then we'll have a better world.
We would indeed. We would.
Amen. Amen. Well, we're doing it, ladies. We're doing it. So that's where it
One
starts.
by one, step by step.
Mamash, mamash.
Right.
Thank
We
you.
have to-
Wonderful to see everybody. I am really hoping we continue and we'll see everybody. Sherry, did you have something you wanted to say or just waving? Okay. Okay.
Just
Shavuot
thank you
tov
very
to
much.
everybody.
Thank you.
I'm
You're welcome.
sure
nice.
in a few weeks, I'm definitely in to continue.
Thank you. Vanessa, wonderful to see you.
You too, you too.
It's so good to see you. I haven't seen you I've been happy to have you here and I haven't gotten a chance. Vanessa was a student of mine years ago and it's just really fun to, haven't seen you in a long time. So I'm really glad you're here.
Yeah, this is excellent. Thank
I'm
you.
so happy to see you. Lots of love.
Thank you. It was wonderful.
Okay.
Thank
bye,
you so much. Thank you.
You're
Fantastic
welcome.
as usual. And Lehitraut on Wednesday.
להתראות. Bye.
Bye.